Good morning, stamping friends. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. My name is Lorri Heiling, and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I'm just so happy that you're joining me this Valentine's weekend. Do you all have some fun plans for the weekend? We are just going to have a chill weekend with friends from Minnesota in town, so we'll do a nice dinner and just kind of take it easy. And the weather's beautiful here. I hate to say, because I know some of you are freezing in the north tundra, but it is really nice here. So let's get started with today's project. However, you know what I'm going to do. I'm always putting a plug in for our celebration. This is going on until February 28th, so we're about halfway through the month. And I want you to flip to the back of the catalog. If you don't have a catalog, let me know. Otherwise, you can see it online. But they have this awesome deal. If you decide you want to be a discount shopper and get all your products at a discount, all you have to do is create your own little starter kit for $99, and you get to choose $125 worth of products. And this can be anything from the the mini catalog or the annual catalog. So there's lots of choices. In addition, because it's celebration, they always throw in an extra bonus, and you get all this designer series paper. These are 6x6 sheets in every family of color that Stampin' Up! Has. And this is all going to be in the annual catalog, so you're going to get it before anyone else. And so this alone is worth, gosh, I think it's like $57, so it's just really a great deal. And remember, starter kits are always free shipping, so take advantage of that. If you can shoot me an email or if you want to chat on the phone, I would love to share even more about my team and what we do. But basically, it's just you're signing up to be a discount shopper. I always compare it to like having a Costco membership. So if you're buying products anyway, you might as well just get that discount. All right, now I'm flipping to the paper that we're going to use today. We are going to use that beautiful ombre paper. I think, oh gosh, I really like the paper in the celebration catalog this year. I use the floral a lot, but this one I love because you can have some interest with the circles or just the plain, but I love ombre anything, whether it's clothes or like pictures on the wall or Stampin' Up! Paper. I just am drawn to ombre, so that's why it's one of my favorites. All right, and then the stamp set that I chose to use is, I told you we're doing an Easter project, so I chose Springtime Joy. But what's nice about this is it doesn't just have to be Easter. There is a sentiment with Easter in, but it talks about spring and just kind of gets us excited for the snow to melt and the weather to be right, or to be nice. And because it is warm here in Arizona already, we're in the 70s, so I'm just in the springy mood. And this is a really nice versatile set. Even these you could use for baby cards. So that's something I look at when I decide which stamp sets that I'm going to invest in. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is show you, well, let's take the base of the card. This is just 8.5 by 11 cardstock. It's our new basic white, and I just cut it in half, which means now it's 5.5 by 8.5. And then I scored it down the middle on the long side, and just fold on there, and then take your bone folder, and this gives it a nice crisp edge. And that's our base. Let's set that aside. And the next thing we're going to do is cut the next layer, and this is basic white again. This one I didn't use the thick though, I just used thin. I tend to use the thick when it's a card base, but if I'm layering and it doesn't really have to be thick, then I'll just grab our basic white, just the regular thickness. And then I did take the stitched rectangle die, and you can barely see it in there. The reason it's kind of hidden is because I cut it out with the rectangle die and I embossed it with the Subtles embossing folder. And to help you out, I think this is the largest die that I used. It's 5 1/8 by 3 3/4. And what we're gonna do here is just add some dimensionals on the back. And when I put dimensionals on the back of a large piece like this, and when I use the Subtles embossing folder, it tends to break down the fibers of the paper. It's a little more flimsy, so I like to add a few more just so that it doesn't warble. You know, like, you know what warble means. And that way every side is gonna not have dips in it. So that's why I do that. I usually just put them on the corners, but in this case, I'm gonna add them. So let's make another layer on here and just put it right smack in the middle. All right. Okay, there's our next layer. Now what we're gonna do is take the ombre paper, and I wanted to show you where I cut it out in the paper. And this is another stitched rectangle die, and I'm gonna measure that so you know about what it is. Well, let me just measure this. It's about 3 1/4 by almost 2. So I just put it as high as I could on the paper because I want the really light shades of it. Can you guess what this is gonna be? And so that's how I cut that out. And then you have a lot of paper left over there, but that's where I cut it. And so when it pops out, it looks like this. All right, so this is actually gonna be our skyline. That's why I was shooting for the upper part of that. Now the next thing I'm gonna take is a die. Well, let me show you the die. This is called Friendly Silhouettes die. And oh, this is such a cute die because it has kind of like the cattails in it and grass and stuff. And I thought the bunny would be cute in the grass. However, look at how tall it is. So we're going to do a little bit of adjusting on this grass. So what I did was I grabbed this die again and I cut this out in Granny Apple Green. I'll show you in a bit, but I already you'll see what I did to it. Once this is cut out, then I place this on top of the paper like this, and I actually cut it down by placing it on top of here. And so now we're gonna have the same edge, that same stitch edging. I know I'm a sucker for detail here. And that's how we're gonna get this so it fits perfectly on here. Now, there's a couple little things that I don't like about this. This one is too long because you can see the stitched edge there and it looks wonky. So I'm just gonna trim that off. That's what's nice about this grass. You can just trim wherever. Now, let me get that bunny that I'm gonna use. Look at how he kind of gets lost in this grass. So what I'm gonna do is just start mowing the grass here with my scissors. And I want to be able to see the bunny a little bit more. So just place it on top and just start snipping because we want to see this bunny's, you know, his body and his face. I need to get rid of this cattail too. It's poking him. All right, so see how he's kind of carved out in there? Get all these little pieces everywhere. So we just had to trim that down a little bit. All right, let's set these 2 pieces aside. And now let's work on the bunny. I'll show you the colors of blends that I used. I'm using dark basic black, light crumb cake, dark pool party, dark daffodil delight, and light granny apple green. Now to do the bunny, I like white bunnies, so what I'm gonna do is just kind of outline the bunny a little bit, and I'm just gonna go inside the black line. I just stamped on basic white paper using Memento ink. That is the ink of choice when you're using blends so that the black doesn't bleed. You can see how I'm not even going on the line, I'm going inside the line because I just want to add a little bit of color in here, but he's mostly white. So that's why I'm not coloring him in solid. You could though, if you like gray bunnies or brown or whatever, but I'm gonna do a white one. It looks a little more Eastery. Then we're gonna color the leaves, and I'm using Granny Apple Green, and I chose Granny Apple Green because that's what color our grass is, and I always try to tie the colors together so it all matches and goes well together. Now I'm gonna take Pool Party. I tried Bermuda Bay because that's actually the color of the ombre paper if you look at the description of it, but the Bermuda Bay, even the light one, was a little bit too dark, so I chose Pool Party for that one. Then we're gonna take yellow. I don't know, yellow's one of my favorite colors, yellow and green. And so I chose yellow to make it more springy. And I'm only gonna go with 2 different colors of flowers. And then I'm kind of a person who has an attention to detail, so I even put little black dots in the center of these flowers. All right, that was fast, right? Now let's take a dimensional, and I'm only gonna use 1 on this. We really don't need to line this one up. So let's put a dimensional on the back of them. And then let's just set him about where I set him before, off to the right a little bit. Now for these the grass part, I want to flip it on the back side, and remember our foam adhesive strips? These are going to be perfect for this because I want this bunny to be tucked behind the grass like he's hiding, and these are already cut into strips, so I didn't really have to do anything, and they're so lightweight that you can tear them. You don't even have to have your scissors and gum them up, so just tear them apart. And then we are just going to place this right on top, and it's going to make it look like this bunny is totally behind the grass because the grass is sticking up so far. Isn't that cute? All right, now we're going to flip the whole thing over and add a few more dimensionals on the back. Probably just, I don't know, let's do 4. I probably could use my small ones on this. I mix and match, but I have these handy. Even the Rococo Rose ombre is pretty too, isn't it? But I was going for the sky background. All right, now let's get our card base and let's just hike this down to the bottom right corner like this. This is going to be kind of a clean and crisp looking card, so I don't want to add too much, but I felt like it needed a little bit of stamping on. So I took the stamp that was the smallest, and it's called, it says Welcome Spring, and the ink I chose is Bermuda Bay because I do want it to be a bit darker, and remember I said this is the actual color that they call that ombre paper. And now I'm just going to try to stamp straight because I'm looking at an angle. Don't mind my head a minute. I don't want this to go uphill or downhill. And just right in the corner like that. That is the end of the card. Do you like it? Just sweet, simple, crisp, clean. And then you could put an Easter sentiment on the inside, add a little butterfly or whatever, or just write your note. But I thought that would be fun for today, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. And also, if you see any products that you like, please be sure and use my host code. I will also post that on my blog and my Facebook pages, and I would appreciate that. If your order is over $150, then just claim the host rewards yourself. Well, thank you again. I hope you all have a wonderful Valentine's weekend, and I will be back for another either Facebook Live or YouTube Live on the same channel on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Arizona time. All right, take care. Thanks again, everyone. Bye-bye.